Greetings, this is Amy Wentley with Chai Knuckles Knitting, and this video covers the traditional bind-off. This is one of a series of videos covering bind-offs that you can use for knitting. A link to the playlist is in the description below and on my blog at chaiknucklesknitting.com. This is the traditional bind-off. Usually whenever you get instructed in a pattern to bind off, unless they tell you specifically, this is the bind off that you will use. So here are the steps. You put your needle into the first stitch and you knit that first stitch. Then you also knit the second stitch. And then you take your left hand needle and you lift the first stitch over the second stitch and drop it off. So now you have one stitch on your right needle and the rest of your stitches on the left. So you'll go ahead and you'll knit the next stitch, lift the first stitch on your right needle over the next stitch, and you've bound off another. Knit one more stitch. Now you have two stitches on your right needle, lift the first over the second, there you go. Work the next stitch on your left needle and then lift over. Next stitch, lift over. And the next stitch, lift over. If a pattern says bind off in pattern, what you do is you work the next stitch the way that the pattern tells you to. So if the next row has a certain pattern, I'm just fixing the stitches here so I can show you how this works. Okay. So I have 3 stitches on my needle left. And if I were going to bind off in pattern and I wanted to bind off and I wanted to work the next stitch as a purl, what I would do is I would work that next stitch as a purl. You always work the next stitch the way you're supposed to, and then you lift the first stitch over the second. And then the next stitch is a knit stitch, and I lift over the top. And let's say my next stitch in the pattern is supposed to be a purl stitch. Then I will purl the next stitch and I will lift the first stitch over the second stitch. When you get to the end of the bind off, all you need to do is cut your yarn and just pull this yarn out and leave it here. It makes a natural knot at the edge. So that's the traditional bind off. There you go. Please look for more bind offs and I will see you soon. Bye bye.